Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Castro Valley Unified School District Board meeting. We will call our meeting to order. Is there approval of the agenda?
I move we approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Trustee Raymond,
Yes.
Trustee Howard,
Yes.
Trustee Adams,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. The motion passes 4-0. Amy, are there any public comments? Since there are no public comments, we will recess to close session and return at 6 p.m. Thank you so much and see you soon. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Castro Valley Unified School District Board meeting. We are reconvening to open session. The board did not take any action in closed session. Trustee Howard, would you please read our mission statement?
Sure. We work together to provide safe, challenging, innovative, and culturally responsive learning environments to ensure that all our students feel respected and supported to achieve their unique academic potential and explore their individual talents.
Thank you, Trustee Howard. I will now read our public comment instructions for those in the room and mostly online tonight. It is long, so please bear with me. The board respects and encourages the public to comment on matters on the board agenda and within the board's jurisdiction. The board fully supports civil discourse and requests that everyone respect each other and their point of view. Individuals who would like to address the board must complete a request to speak form via the Google form at www.cv.k12.caus/public comment/ and submit it prior to the start of the agenda item. At the discretion of the board president, speaker cards may be accepted after the start of the agenda item. Your name will be called and you will either come to the podium to speak or be unmuted during your turn and be allowed to make public comments. After the allotted time, you will then be remuted. Individual speakers are asked to limit their comments to no more than 3 minutes, unless the board decides otherwise. There are up to 30 minutes of public comment allowed on each agenda item. With board consensus, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed. This meeting is being recorded to prepare the official minutes. To comply with the Brown Act, the board may listen to comments from the speakers under public comment, but can neither discuss nor take action on the issues presented. Thank you all for bearing with me. I am so excited. We get a student board member report. I didn't even see you come in. Indiana, what's going on in the district?
A lot of stuff for the holidays. CVE had a cookies and crafts party, and they are supporting Castro Valley Outreach's Adopt a Family they adopted 2 families. Palomares also adopted 2 families, and so did Marshall. Marshall is having a 2023 holiday assembly, and the 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders are going to be performing. They are also having a winter festival tomorrow. And Proctor had a book flood celebration, and they're preparing for Battles of the Books. And for the book flood celebration, they sold hot chocolate to raise money. At the middle schools, Creekside and Canyon's boys volleyball and girls soccer started. Creekside is continuing to add stuff to their web store. Play CV had a lunchtime girls volleyball tournament and a 3-on-3 basketball tournament at the middle schools. And Creekside and Canyon had their winter band, orchestra, and choir concerts. At the high school, everyone is very nervous but preparing for finals. This week we're having our Comfy Quiet Week, Spirit Week. So at lunchtime, we've done activities in the quad each day to help our student relax. Today we had coloring pages and snowflake making. That was fun. We also raised over $6,000 for Adopt a Family, and leadership is gonna go shop for the families this Saturday at Target. We're also having free yoga by Castro Valley Yoga and the portables after school on Fridays. That's been happening this month for students and staff. And we had a flea market for the clubs at the high school and outside vendors. And at that clubs raised over $1,500.
Indiana, it sounds like you need a break.
It's busy. It's fun because everything is holidays.
Lot going on. Thank you for sharing. Superintendent Amati, what's going on your end?
Yeah, just a couple of things I wanted to share. Eden Health District, we're very grateful. We applied for a grant and they gave us $50,000 to help us with the clinic. So that's pretty exciting. I appreciate that. We had our first staff affinity group meeting last Friday. Ms. Rishichi and Ms. Eagles and Ms. Fong did a beautiful job. We had about 50 some people, and it was a really well-received activity. Our amazing group, which included our teacher, Sue Anderson, let's see, our Sam, our social worker, Marion Meadows, our coordinator of behavioral health, and Patrick, our principal, and President Whitaker did a beautiful presentation on how we support our LGBTQIA plus community members and students, and it went so well. It was Saturday at the CSBA conference, and I was wondering how many people were coming because it was the last day, and usually people leave on Friday night. The room was full, and it was amazing. Lots of school districts, and I know other board members I know were there as well. In the audience. The Ad Foundation meeting just was this week. Their Spring for Education event is April 26th, and they're going to be sending out information about that. The scholarships, they had over 30 scholarships coming in. This is not the high school scholarship. This is a scholarship so students, parents, and teachers can apply for, and they're looking at to see how many of those they can grant. A couple of us were at our Commissioner Chris Lowe's memorial on Saturday, and to pay our respect. It was a great celebration of life for him. And then I just wanted to remind everybody, Martin Luther King Jr. celebration is January 15th at 10 to 12 at the CFA. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Amati. We'll move on to our California School Employees Association and Castro Valley Teachers Association reports. I don't see Connie. Is the audience, is she online? Then I will welcome Mr. Mladenich. Welcome, Mark.
I just wanted to thank the board on behalf of CVTA for approving our contract last meeting, and to wish everybody a happy holidays, and here's to a peaceful and stable 2024. Let's close out 2023, and hope you guys all have a great time with your friends and family, and thank you for serving the community as school board members. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Do we have any items not on the agenda? Public comments? No public comments. Now we get to one of our fun items tonight, which is our annual organization meeting. I will officially open it up, and we will move on to item 8B, and I would like to move and make a motion that Trustee Michael Kuziak be the president for the Board of Education for 2024.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
I'll be quiet.
I just want to say that it'd be great to have you as president, Michael.
And I will no longer call you Vice President Kuziak. Trustee Raymond,
Yes.
Trustee Howard,
Yes.
Trustee Adams.
Yes.
Well, one more time. Vice President Kuziak,
Yes. Yes, President Whitaker.
I will vote yes. The motion passes 5-0. Welcome, President Kuziak. Do we switch now?
This is
Oh.
really stressful. Don't do this to me.
Okay, we'll wait. We'll give you a second. You can breathe for 5 more minutes. We will move on to item 8C, elect the Vice President Clerk of the Board of Education for 2024.
I'd like to make a nomination of Dolly Adams to be the vice president.
I'll second that one as well.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, I'll just say, Dolly, you care so much for our community, and it's been wonderful, being on this board with you. I don't know if people really appreciate the intention you have around special education students and what knowledge you and wealth of knowledge you bring to this board. And I'm grateful for that. I want you to know that.
Thank you.
Trustee Raymond. Trustee Howard.
Yes.
Trustee Adams.
Yes.
Trustee Kuziak.
Yes. What are you, a trustee? You're the president still, kind of?
Sort of.
Okay. Yes.
And I will vote yes. So the motion passes 5-0. And we'll move to 8D, appoint the Secretary of the Board of Education for 2024. And I move to appoint Superintendent Amati.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Trustee Raymond. Trustee Howard.
Yes.
Trustee Adams.
Yes.
Trustee Kuziak.
Yes.
And I will vote yes. The motion passes 5-0. We will now move on to item 8E, review and consider adoption of the revised calendar of regular board meetings for 23-24.
It's here with, for the rest of this year.
I
And-
move for approval of the revised
I'll second that.
calendar. Yeah.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Indiana,
Yes.
Trustee Raymond,
Yes.
Trustee Howard,
Yes.
Trustee Adams,
Yes.
Trustee Kuziak,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. The motion passes 6-0. We will now move on to item 8F, where we will review, revise, and approve the assignment of board members to Superintendent's Parent Leadership Council meeting for 2024. Now, these were attached.
Yes.
That would
I'm
be
gonna share it
lovely.
online.
Thank you.
So we just have a few left for this year.
Be happy to take January 17th.
I think I could take February 14th.
I can take March.
I'll take April.
You have
Gary Howard.
May.
May.
I'll take May with the caveat that I might not be around.
Do you want to take April and I'll take May?
That'd be fine.
Great. We're all set. And now we will move on to item 8G, appointment of board representatives. So now that we have new officers, there's point differences that we want to consider for our role alignment to make sure there's equity of service across. So not one person is overloaded over the other and we have a balance.
So Amy actually has it on your screen. And as you see, for example, for ROP, it's a 2-year position. For SELPA, it's a 2-year position. So those just moved over, but there are, and then of course, president and vice president just got added. So if there are any changes, we still have spaces where we don't have anybody. We have, how many Amy is adding up all the points, right? On the right-hand side. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I think for equity, I have to just, all the blank spaces, you just have to add me. Sarah?
Well, I just wanted to kind of nominate myself, if that's okay, to go onto the board policy subcommittee. That's, I think, some work I'd really like to be part of. Thank you. I appreciate that vote of confidence from both of you. I'm fine keeping the positions that I'm on. If you guys want to keep me on those positions, most of those have been not very time consuming, so I'm not taking any time at all. And I just, I'd like to use my time here for useful purposes, of course. So, I'm making myself available for a board
That's great.
Great.
policy subcommittee.
I'd love to join with you. That way
Let's
we
do it.
can
All right.
review
Sounds
that
good.
language together.
Can't wait.
Yeah. So now we still have, Mr. Kuziak, the president's going to be pretty busy. So if you want to, and trustee Whitaker doesn't have enough points. So
Can I,
there's a possibility for the budget and facility subcommittee.
can I steal that one from you, Mike? It's
Or-
right here because it's 2 points and I have 4 and you currently have 7.
Sure.
Great. Thank you. Does anybody want to join me on the equity
Team?
wellness council?
I wouldn't mind being on the Wellness Council. Is that,
So Wellness Council is 1 point, right?
Oh, there's 2 though.
Okay. So now that's pretty even.
We got one more person to join me on the equity team, Gary. I know you're looking at me funny, but
Please.
Which one?
Equity Committee?
I could be on equity, but I don't want to give up, like my spendings in order to get.
No, if you do Equity Committee, you would have 7 points and Trustee Howard is the one with the least points. So
I mean, I could.
do you mind being on the Equity Committee?
No, I don't mind at all.
I mean, and Mr. Howard, so that you're all even? Either one. Okay, so that way,
thank you.
I think this is the first time we have everybody with the same number of points, you guys. That's pretty cool.
6 across the board.
Yes. So thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Now we will close our annual organization meeting. Thank you for joining us
Yes.
for that.
And before we do that, we have a little.
Oh, yeah. Hi there.
Hi.
Just we just
want me
wanted to thank you
sorry, thank you.
for your amazing job you've done as a board president this year, supporting us, taking us through.
I didn't sign it. I meant to. I'll sign
You can sign it.
Sign it after.
Gorgeous color of those flowers.
I want to say how, if you,
Yeah.
Good lavender. Y'all really missed out in the audience not being at the statewide school board association conference. But what was really moving, honestly, were your words. And I was just so moved by, you talked about the importance of knowing your why. And I just wanted to thank you for how you shared that with everyone in that room. And it moved me. And I think we know why you're here. And I want to thank you for your leadership here and keeping things moving along. Thank you.
Thank you, President Kuziak. I want to say a couple things, but I want to see you all. So I'm going to move this out of the way.
It is beautiful.
This is my second time as board president. The first time was when we started going through the pandemic. That was a lot to go through. But I'm here. I started here, and my why is because my husband was a teacher in the district, and he gave so much to this community. He was an Iranian American who faced adversity, and he just cared so much about equity in this district. He was fighting for restorative justice. He just wanted everyone to be okay and everybody to have equal access. And he cared so much. And when he passed away, I ran for this office to finish what he started. I knew all the drama about who was fighting with whom and what their issues were. And I wanted to build that community and that connection to make sure that we had the capacity and the culture to just work together for the betterment of our society. What we do here, it matters. It matters a lot. You know, the kids that we serve, they're either forgotten or we can lift them up. And the work that we've done together as a team, at least the last 7 years that I've been here, I'm so appreciative. I'm so appreciative of staff. Look, I don't do any of the work, they do. Just want to put that out there. It's because of your dedication. It's because of the care that you have that we have this great team and this great culture. And I am so proud to have served you in this capacity. I'm so glad that Mike gets to take over. And I get to sit back next year and just make all the comments. I always read my packet. I don't know about you.
So we can switch right now.
Okay, let's-
Sit wherever you are.
Yeah.
and-
Can we just scoot over and I take Dolly's spot?
Oh, okay.
Oh, right.
Thank you.
Whose box is this? Oh, okay. Change our names.
Hey, everyone. Can I practice my maniacal laugh now? No, no. That's a joke. Okay, so our next agenda item, I don't think we're going to take a recess. Is there a consensus whether we need a recess or not? I don't think we need one. Item number 10, the consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
I'll move approval of the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Excellent. We have a first and a second. Is there any discussion? Excellent. Let's vote on this. Indiana.
Yes.
Trustee Raymond.
Yes.
Trustee Howard.
Yes.
Trustee Whitaker.
Yes.
Vice President Adams.
Yes, President.
You can just call me Vice President.
Yes, I did.
And I will say, yes, we have passed our consent agenda. So let us move on to item 11, reports, discussion, and action items. Our first one is a presentation update on Measure G projects.
We have our wonderful team here to start us off. Welcome.
Okay. So, excuse me. Yeah, so Measure G, we are finishing up our bond. So, this presentation is short, and then we also have, a public hearing. So I'll be quick. We had our CVOC, the Measure G CVOC bus tour at the end of October, and it went really well. And we got to see a bunch of the sites and had good attendance, and I think everyone enjoyed themselves. We have the got to get a finished look of the Stanton Amphitheater and the playgrounds and all the different things. So, and we've been working on installing the drinking fountains at all the elementary. So this is kind of a sample of what we did at Independent. Yes, so it's, yeah, so it's a bottle filler and a drinking fountain. So we have new furniture at the high school. I think we got about 16 classroom full. And then we got new cafeteria tables for Canyon Middle School. For Canyon, we're also working on the EV bus charging infrastructure. So we had received a grant from Carl Moyer through the Bay Area Air Quality District. And so now we're looking at the actual charging infrastructure for the buses that's on order and will come in this next year. And so what we looked at is where to position it and how to do it so that it sets us up for future expansion for if and when we get more grant funding, because the state is trying to move in that direction. And we're also working with PG&E. They have an EV fleet program that works on their side of the infrastructure too. And so what we've been looking at is moving into the tennis court area for Canyon, and that we're going to relocate the tennis court to another area of the site. And so this will be closer to the staff parking. So it sets us up also for when, if and when we get funding, to also potentially do staff and public charging. And so what we're doing is kind of trying to run and start because we have 2 buses that we got with the grant and 2 chargers. So what we're trying to do is put the 2 chargers at the very end of the line so that when we get more buses and chargers, so then we just tap into the line. And so this kind of a layout I had the architect do to make sure that all the buses will fit. They can turn around. And then with financials, we pretty much have expended all of Measure G for this year, and we are done. So 126.1 million. And so that's the 123 plus interest. Then we're working on other funds in terms of the state reimbursement and developer fees and routine restricted maintenance. And so we're kind of, moving along to kind of complete the projects. We have some portables at Vinoy we need to set. We have the Canyon athletic field project, and then the 600 and 700 play fields at the high school. And that's my presentation. So any questions?
Trustee Whitaker.
Sharon, I just want to say, leave it to you to come up with an efficient solution that's going to save us money later and help protect the environment. Just love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Trustee, student board member representative Chilton.
I just wanted to say the water fountains and the drink stations at the elementary school, I think that's really good because I babysit a lot of elementary school students, and we'll go to the playground and that is what they always say, they need water. And also the new desks at the high school are really nice. So thank you.
Good. Glad you like them. It's great. It's great. I just want to thank you. I mean, it's really incredible what you have done. We started with how many years ago with 123 million, again, 126 million included the interest. But I also know that you and Susie have worked so hard to get all these grants that allow us now to do so much more work. At some point, we do need to, talk about what projects we still have on our list that need to be done, which we don't have funding for right now, but we do need to start thinking about that as well. So, but I also, so since this is all finished, our CBOC has its meeting next week, and that would be their last meeting.
It's next Wednesday, the 20th.
I'm remembering those initial meetings when we got together, maybe we should do a bond. And it's really fantastic to kind of see the life cycle of it and see the investments made. The filling station reminded me of Miss Napoli over at Chabot Elementary School. I blame her from creating. My son is now a water bottle addict. He's always looking for the newest one each school year. But she really got the kids there into that. And it's wonderful that we're meeting kids where they want to be met. So Congratulations and thank you. Okay, so I get to open up my first public hearing. So I get to gavel this. Okay. Sorry. Left-handed. Okay. That was you will respect my authority. Just joking. This is a public hearing. It's a draft initial study and mitigated negative declaration for the Canyon Middle School Fields project. This is a public hearing.
I'm going to ask Ms. Struquins to come up and introduce our guest tonight.
Yes. So I have Greg Goodfellow from Placeworks. He is our CEQA consultant. So let me have him come up.
Good evening, board members. Thank you for having me. I'd like to start by saying I can vouch for how efficient and wonderful it is to work with Sharon throughout the couple of projects I've worked for with her. So as the board president mentioned, this is a public hearing, and I'll clarify at the beginning that what we're doing is allowing the public to offer comments on the environmental analysis in the initial study and mitigated negative declaration of the Canyon Middle School Athletic Field project. This is not to approve the project or approve the document itself. So the public understands that. It's to take comment on the contents in the CEQA document. Quick project overview. This is a new athletic field on the upper portion of the campus. The natural turf will be fully regraded and replaced with synthetic turf. New backstop fences, bullpen batting cages, and other complementary characteristics and components to the field. New stairs, accessible pathways, surface treatments for pedestrians, and the temporary restroom will be replaced with a permanent facility. Some of you may remember this is very consistent in scale and scope with the Creekside project a few years back. This is actually even more straightforward because the Creekside project, you may recall, abutted Earl Warren Park. The city had a shared use memorandum with that park. There was a riparian element that demanded a little bit more closer biological investigation. This is very straightforward. A quick CEQA overview for our listeners and for the board. The California Environmental Quality Act is the state's primary environmental protection law. Thank you, Jerry Brown, about 50 years ago. CEQA requires that public agencies analyze and disclose environmental impacts of all projects that have a physical effect on the environment. And in this case, the district has completed a draft CEQA review of the Canyon Middle School recreational field project via an initial study / mitigated negative declaration. All right, what is a negative declaration? An MND is an informational document. It does not approve or deny a project. That's important to remember. It follows an initial study in which it is determined that a project would have no significant unavoidable impacts, and that's why a full EIR was not done. That's the threshold between an EIR and an MND, is that initial study. It identifies mitigation measures to reduce all those potential impacts to a less than significant level. And it's paired with a mitigation monitoring and reporting program to ensure that those mitigation measures are implemented. So that'll be a tabular document where you'll see each mitigation measure, who will take care of it, when will it be implemented, how and where and by whom it will be monitored to make sure it was. And of course, the MND must be certified by the lead agency, in this case, the district, prior to project approval. So again, it doesn't approve the project, but it is required to approve the project. A lot of environmental topics assessed in this MND. These have shifted somewhat since I presented to the district last. There are some new topics that are required, but of course, aesthetics, air quality, greenhouse gases, the list goes on all the way down to tribal cultural resources and wildfire. You'll see we had a great, interesting back and forth with the Native American Heritage Commission to make sure that things were done properly on this project. So a very quick rundown of what we learned in the document through the impacts and mitigation measures that we found. There were 6 potentially significant impacts that were found to be less than significant with very straightforward mitigation. First was air quality. There was 1 dust impact, particulate matter that can always be kicked up in any construction project that is very typically mitigated by requirements of the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. They have some revised requirements that are very thorough, adhere to those, and the impact is mitigated. Same with biological resources. These are straightforward and common, but there were 2 impacts related mostly to avian and bird nesting. So of course, let's make sure we go in there. Let's survey all trees to make sure there are no live nests. And if there are, we're going to require a work stoppage or removal or work with a biologist. Also a straightforward mitigation. Cultural and paleontological resources. Again, 2 straightforward potential impacts that are commonly mitigated in these documents. Let's make sure we stop work if any sensitive resource is discovered in any way, shape, or form, and work with an expert to come up with a recovery plan. More interesting, I thought, was the impact for tribal cultural resources. We worked closely with the North Valley Yakutsk tribe, and they came up with this great idea to make sure that, look, this is very sensitive Native American land. This entire area is, as of course, I think you know, all Ohlone language groups from here down to southern San Jose. And so they are going to put together a sensitivity training pre-construction to make sure that everyone down there on the ground understands at least what to look for, how to look for those things, and who to call immediately if you see those things. And the Yakuts were great to talk to and get involved in this process. And it's those 6 potentially significant impacts that cover the entire document. That's all we found. Again, this is a straightforward project. Physical changes to an already developed site. The other threshold for CEQA that makes this relatively straightforward is that it's not going to accommodate an increase in student body or classroom space. We are in the required public review period now. It goes from December 9th to January 9th of next year. No comments received so far. And again, I'll point out, like I did in the beginning of this presentation, that per CEQA statute, what we're looking for are comments that address the actual analysis in the document itself, not the project. So of course, tonight, if anyone has comments on the project, that's fine. But keep in mind that the way these are responded to in the final document will only be to those comments considered germane, to use that legal term, to the CEQA process. And that's all I have tonight. Does anyone have any questions?
Trustee Raymond.
I just want to say, first of all, I appreciate that this is being done. I realize it's required to be done, but I appreciate it being done and that we're considering, just making sure that we're aware of what sort of impact this will be making as we unfold on the work. With respect to the tribal cultural resources in particular, I just wanted to ask, was anyone from the Ohlone tribe consulted?
Well, what we do is we send letters to the entire NAHC,
Okay.
who then helps us decide what tribal representatives to send our letters to. And there were 6 different letters sent to 6 different representatives. I'm trying to remember who it was in the Ohlone. I mean, all these groups come from that larger family. I'm certain that anybody who had given, the knowledge of the NAHC of who to contact in this area, we send them a map and we send them the coordinates. So certainly anyone with an interest in the area was notified.
Okay, thank you. I just was curious what that process was or why the Yakuts in particular were consulted. And, I just, in context for anyone listening, there is like a site in the back of Canyon that has grinding stones that, and are important. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that. Oh, right, got it. And that's all. Thank you.
Sure.
Trustee Whitaker.
You. I'm an environmental professional and just want to say thank you so much for your analysis. It seemed pretty clear cut to me. And then just, for the community's perspective, there are certain things that we don't share publicly about cultural resources to protect privacy of the tribe. So appreciate that. And then just looking forward to hearing what comments we receive and how we respond to them.
Great. Anything else?
No, thank you so much. Just, we're on our way. I want to thank the collaborative efforts that we had with HARD, and this is why it's happening. So we're really excited about that, and can't wait to see those 4 soccer fields, light, and everything else. So thank you for your work on this.
Thank you all.
I do have one question before we go to public comment. Medicaid negative declaration. that's so not intuitive to me. And I'm wondering, in your line of work, have your people talked about another way of saying what that is?
Oh, well, that comes straight from the statute. I mean, what that
Yeah.
means is, I mean, think about it in comparison to an environmental impact report, which is there's an assumption that some of these impacts may not be able to be mitigated at all. So therefore, having the word mitigated in the title, that's the difference here. We're assuming that every mitigation in this report is going to reduce that impact to a less than significant level. I know
Okay.
I'm putting more of those words in your mouth as I say this, but the real way to think about it is vis-a-vis an EIR, where from the beginning we say, you know what, given the size and scope of this project, we are going to have to look at this assuming that some of these impacts are going to be unavoidable. And what that does, to take it one step further, and EIRs have to assess alternatives to the project. So what we learned in our initial study was the traffic impacts are going to be so bad that we need to assess one where the parking lot is reduced from 150 spaces to 25 and the entrance point is shifted off of one street to the next, things like that. So again, an MND does not require that because it's assumed from the beginning, based on the initial study, that none of these impacts are going to be unavoidable.
Got it. Thank you. Ms. Kayer, do we have any public comments tonight? Excellent. Great. We will close this public hearing. And it is my pleasure to open my second public hearing. Public hearing, accounting of development fees for the 2022-2023 fiscal year. So I'm going to close this public hearing. Wow. Okay. Public hearing closed. That was fun. 11D, adopt resolution 25-2324 regarding accounting of development fees for 2022-23 fiscal year. Okay.
Yes, this is an
Thank you.
annual, yes, an annual requirement. And so in the packet, we have the accounting of the developer fees that we received in the 22-23. Because it's been 5 years, so that's why we have a spreadsheet of the accounting for the last 5 years. So because every 5 years we do need to account for all the developer fees that we received. So that's why compared to last year, you're seeing all 5 years, and then next year will be only 1 year. Again, just showing everything that we received, how much we expended, and then what is the available balance that will be carried over or was carried over in the current year.
Do we have any questions from the board? I have one question. I'll control myself too. So I noticed in the 5-year trend, it seems like the amount that we're getting is kind of decreasing. That would be an indication of just overall residential construction activity in Castro Valley, correct?
That's correct.
Great. Right. So this is an action item. Oh, sorry. Before I do that, Ms. Kayer, do we have any public comment? We have no public comment. So this is an action item.
I move that we adopt resolution 25-2324.
And I'll second.
Excellent. Student board member Chilton, you can vote on this.
Yes.
Trustee Raymond,
Yes.
Trustee Howard,
Yes.
Trustee Whitaker,
Yes.
Vice President Adams,
Yes, President Kusiak.
and I will say yes. And with that 5-0, we have passed this resolution. Let's go on to item 11E. Certify the financial condition first interim report for 2023-24.
Yes, this is the first interim report for 23-24. And so I'm going to skip a few of the slides because these are slides that are always part of the presentation for the public. So I'm going to go to the executive summary. The 23-24 first interim, these are the things that, that we wanted to highlight for you. The interim report meets the requirements of the positive certification. That means all 3 years we will meet our 3% reserve. the local control funding formula, which is how schools are funded. We did put in the cost of living adjustment of 8.22%, and that's what the state budget was approved in June. And so with the 8.22% COLA, and that's the reason why in our budget we put in that COLA. What you are going to see in the next few slides are significant one-time funds that we are carried over from prior year that we did not spend. And I highlighted a couple of them here just because they are, they're substantial, well, a significant amount for the 2 block grants that we received that were included in the governor's budget last year in 22-23, but that carried over in the current year, and that's because those are planned. We plan to spend those over a 2-year period, and that's the reason why half of them were spent last year, and then the remaining funds will be in the current year. We also adjusted our federal and other state and local revenues. There are, throughout the year, we do get some revisions, and so we do take a look at that and make sure that we reflect the revised allocation in our budget, as well as carryover. Because you approved the unaudited actuals in September. So with that approval, then we carried over all the funds from prior year and then reported or recorded our deferred revenue from prior year. These are mostly federal funds. Good news for our district. Our enrollment did increase by about 280 students when compared to prior year. So we are this is actually the highest we've ever been, 94 in the last, I'm not sure in history, but I know that for sure within 15 years, this is the highest we've been, 9488, so 9,488 students. And of course, last board meeting in last November, you approved the compensation increase for all employees, and that's a total of $8.9 million. So let us look at the revenues from changes from original budget, which you approved in June and up to October 31st, first interim. So highlighting the LCFF, because I shared with you in the previous slide that we did increase our enrollment by 280. And so we did assume that additional ADA for the 280 students. And that's why you're seeing a $2.9 million increase there. Federal funds are mostly the deferred revenue that we posted this year from last year. And then, of course, then state revenue, we did receive $1.3 million arts and music, which is the Prop 28. And then, of course, a local will be the fee. These are all related to fees and one-time donations that we receive. And of course, on the right-hand side, it's just a list of all of them, Title I, Title II, Title IV, anti-bias grant, lottery, adjustment, and special ed. So you're used to seeing this slide as part of the budget, but I wanted to show this just so you know where or what makes up the $137.7 million. We have two buckets for the revenue. We have unrestricted and restricted. So for unrestricted, we have almost $112 million, which makes up about 81% of the total revenue. And that's a list of all the revenue under unrestricted. The bulk of the unrestricted is LCFF, and that's a breakdown of where we actually get the money to, or the state gets all of the other funding, which is property taxes are local, right? So we get the 37.6. The state looks at education protection account from taxes, 28.1, and then the state will fill in the difference, which is $41 million. Then you have a list of apprenticeship, lottery, transportation reimbursement under unrestricted, and then a list of restricted that makes up about 19% of total revenues.
So the STIRS we don't actually see that revenue, right? That's the stuff we have to account for, right?
Correct.
And then cafeteria, certain child nutrition, that would also be a restricted fund, correct?
That will be, yes, restricted funds. That's correct. And now looking at expenditures, this is $16.4 million. And that's the reason for this is because we do have some changes in salaries, benefits, all the way to, capital outlay. And we listed all of them there. Most of this, as you know, are all restricted funds. And so that's why I wanted to make sure that I highlight all of them here, listed them all. Title I, again, deferred revenues that we posted in the current year, new grants that we received, like in this case, additional money for anti-bias grant, lottery, just because of the adjustment that we received, plus additional ADA that makes up that $0.2 million. We the ones that I noted earlier is the $1.3 million for the block grant, which is the arts and music. So for a sorry, it's not a block grant, but it's the Prop 28. And then we have the expanded learning opportunities here of $1.1 million. This is a carryover from prior year that we plan to, or at least are anticipating to spend in the current year. And the two block grants are listed there. There's $1.8 million. This is half of what we spent, or at least half of the grant, and half of it, well, $1.8 million. This is 50% of the total grant that we're spending this year. So after this year, for the two block grants, arts, music, instructional block grant, and the learning recovery, then we are done with these grants. So we don't plan to carry over any of these because we did assume in our budget that we will spend all of them to help with our expenditures. This is the total expenditures. It's $150 million. Unrestricted is about 58%. Total expenditures and restricted is 42%. You're seeing a 75.3. You're not used to seeing a 75.3% expenditures on salaries and benefits. That's because of all of these, right? So you are a lot of these are not salaries. And that's the reason why this is not at the 80% level that you're used to seeing. But once we spend the one-time funds, this is going to go up to the 80% plus. Percentage of books and supplies and services due to carryover, one-time funds. And then there's a transfer for the apprentice program that we do receive in the general fund, and then we are required to pass it through, send it over to, or transfer it to adult ed. Contributions, reminder, contributions to our restricted programs. There are 3 that we make contribution to restricted programs, and that's a total of $20.3 million. Mainly special ed, 16.2. That's about 55% of total expenditures that we contribute to the program. We are required to set aside 3% of our total expenditures to the restricted maintenance to help with our facility needs. And then we do have a deferred maintenance that we put in about $0.3 million. Again, a reminder that because you approved the compensation increase in last month, we did not have an opportunity to increase the salary. So because of that, we designated the $8.9 million increase as part of the fund balance. But second interim, we will have the compensation increase as part of the salaries and benefits total. Components and ending fund balance, you have unrestricted and restricted. So we still have a few that are in the restricted funds that we did not budget because there are no plans to spend them this year. But as you know, Educator Effectiveness Block Grant, there is a plan, it's a 5-year plan. So this, the $787,000 is actually the remaining funds that we still have about 3 years in this for this block grant. Let's see, donations, those are donations that are planned for future years. And then the set aside, and that's where the committed approved compensation increase is part of the ending fund balance. So overall, we have 8.4 million or 5.62% in our reserve for economic uncertainties. The key assumptions, so we're going to go over now with on a multi-year projection. These are the key assumptions. We updated our ADA. We as a first interim, assumed COLA in the 2 out years, 3.94% in 24-25 and 3.29 in 25-26. We are going to wait for the governor's proposed budget in January. Part of the multi-year projection, we always remove the one-time funds, knowing that they're one-time. And so, so in the 2 out years, those are all funds that are not reflect or no longer in the budget. Expenditures, always want to highlight the STIRS and PERS, how it's growing. STIRS is the same for all 3 years. PERS, it does go up slightly every single year. Okay, and so with those assumptions, here is our multi-year projection. So I highlighted in yellow what we assumed in the budget for the 2 out years, the 3.94% and 3.29, and with a compensation increase of 8.8 or close to $8.9 million. Our 3rd year, we're at 4.05%. Okay. Then I'm sharing this with you because we did hear the LAO updated the reported that, or came out with their report that because of the deficit, so the state is facing a $68 billion deficit. And so what they looked at is the COLA. And so part of the governor's budget in the current year, that 3.94% and 3.29 in the 2 out and the for 25-26 is now going to, or based from LAO, what they're saying is that's not going to be the COLA. So with a deficit of such a huge amount, their COLA is now looking like it's going to be about 1%. So we just heard a couple of days ago it's 1.27. So what does that mean for us? So when we hear the governor's proposed budget in January, if it is, so what I did assume is 1%, just because of what we heard, 1% COLA in 24-25, and also assuming a 1% COLA in 25-26. We are looking at, in order for us to be able to meet our 3% reserve in the 3rd year, if you look at all the way at the bottom, and then towards with the arrow as the actual reduction that we need to make, if that is the case. So again, we're still waiting. We still need to wait until January to hear more. The LAO, they are coming up with some ideas to address the shortfall or the deficit at the state level. A few of them, they've shared that the governor can look at an emergency funding declaration, which is withdrawing from the rainy day fund. Currently, the state has about $24 billion in the rainy day fund, and then 9 billion for Prop 98, which is our funding. And there are about 8 billion that are one-time funds that have not been dispersed to programs that the governor approved, but funds are still at the state level. So those are things that are they're looking at. And the question that a lot of the districts asked the LAO that presented a week ago, are there going to be cuts? And so what he said is that they are the two that I mentioned are the ones that they're looking at, but they don't think that it's going to be a mid-year cut, given that there are substantial amount of one-time funds that haven't been dispersed. So those are things that we're very really hopeful for. So that's why we need to hear more from the governor. And one of the things that our county wanted us to do is come up with another scenario, and that's the reason why you're seeing another scenario of multi-year projection, showing what does it look like for a 1%. So if it is a 1% in next year, and in the third year, another 1%, you're looking at a 2.1 million reduction.
And that this includes no additional compensation in the next 2 years. Without that, it's still 2. Some of the things, I mean, that we're hearing, and I'm sure you had some opportunity at CSB to hear, is actually every county, the average declining enrollment is about 11%. Same as Alameda. So this is an anomaly for sure for us for this year, but moving forward, and the fact that birth rate is half of what it was just like 20 years ago. It's like people are not having children. But I think it's important. We've always been very conservative, assuming future year COLAs. And I think this is why, because we've seen it when they've said, here's what you're going to get, and it's completely different. The other piece is really interesting. The $8 billion that Ms. Chan was just talking about, these are one-time dollars that were basically available, and people are not applying for them. For example, they're supposed to have whatever program they're supposed to be, and they haven't dispersed it because people don't. And oftentimes we apply for grants and then we get even more. I think an example is the one that Dr. Zamora is going to talk about, the residency program, is they can give us more for it's one-time money because other people aren't applying for them, and we always apply for everything.
Now looking at other funds, we have a list of them here, from student activity funds, SELPA, all the way to self-insurance funds. So showing you the beginning balances for each fund, revenue, expenditures, and their ending fund balances. And that's it. If you have any questions.
Are there any questions? Student board member Chilton.
The 280 student increase, that includes the online school, right?
It includes all of our enrollment.
Okay.
The online school is actually our own kids who just, instead of going to the high school, are going there.
So the compensation that we get for the extra students, it doesn't matter if they're in CVVA or in person, right?
They're counted ones, yeah.
Yeah. Now we do get more money for high school.
Correct, because of the base grant for high school is higher. Yes.
And then also how was the enrollment in past years? Have we steadily been increasing or?
Yeah, so prior to COVID, we have been steadily increasing, about 50, less than that every year. Then COVID happened, so we did see a decline, but we actually have more kids now than prior to COVID. So we did gain more students. That's why I shared earlier that we actually at all-time highs for the past 15 years. So yeah.
Vice President Adams.
What was the number of our students now?
9,488.
Thank you. And then the other thing I just wanted to say is thank you, everybody who is applying for everything and getting all those grants, because it makes a really big difference. Oh, I did have one other question. Of the 280 increase, how many are TK and how many are other about?
Oh,
How many TKs did we add this year? 3. So that's about like 60, 70 kids.
7 kids.
Oh, okay. So it's only 60, 70. All right. I
Mhm.
thought it was
Yeah.
higher.
And we have to add, I think, a couple more for next year for TK because
Again, what?
for TK, we have to add more because now there are more students who qualify.
Why? Right.
We did increase more on the TK 6th and 9th grade. So that's what we're seeing, or at least we've seen this year, as far as the increase. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I suppose my only question would be compared to the Great Recession. This doesn't feel like the Great Recession. It seems like we have 2 things going for us, right? We have these mitigation things, the 9 billion, the Prop 98 reserves, the other rainy day fund, and we also have increased enrollment. So we may have to make some choices at some point, but it's probably not going to be 2008, 2009, 2010.
Yes, I would say that because of the addition, the tools like we mentioned, and plus for us, it's compared to other districts, we're increasing rather than declining. We did receive the report, an analysis from our demographer because of what we've seen of about 280 students. And knowing that there are units that are in the pipeline that will be built in Castro Valley. So we wanted to make sure we look at that for the next 10 years. And it does show that we will continue to increase.
This is an action item. So are there any motions out there?
I will make an action item to certify the financial conditions first interim report 23-24.
Number 2.
I'll second.
Excellent. Are there any discussion are there any public comments? No. Any discussion? No. Excellent. Student Board Member Chilton. Hold it. Yeah, you do, because it's not personnel.
Yes.
Oh, Trustee Raymond.
Yes, President Kuziak.
Thank you, Trustee Raymond. Trustee Howard.
Yes.
Trustee Whitaker.
Yes.
Oh, Vice President Adams. I have to say things now. Sorry.
Yes, President Kuziak.
And I am a yes. Thank you. And this is pass unanimously 5-0. Our next item. 6. No, do we do include you? Okay, officially. It's a real vote. It's a real vote. 06. Strike that from the record.
It's 5 votes and 1 preferential vote.
Thank you for
You did the right thing.
Okay, thank you. So we have certified our financial condition first interim report. Our next item is the appointment of board representatives to Personnel Commissioner Nomination Committee. An action item among our board. Is this, you'll give us a little, talk to us,
yes,
please.
We had the unfortunate circumstance to have 2 of our commissioners pass away. And thanks to former President Whitaker, the public's knowledge, she did provide a moment of silence to pay our respects for the 2 commissioners as well as their family at our last meeting. So the process now is that we need to go out and recruit 2 candidates to serve on the Personnel Commission. And we are coming to the board to nominate 2 board members to sit on the selection committee that will take place in January, hopefully not into February, because the process will be fairly quick. And once we have the 2 board members and the committee, we will send out and collect dates on the availability and then provide a timeline with the committee for the selection of the two commissioners.
So the action we need to take is to nominate two members of the board and to select them as a board. I just note that we all were evenly matched. That's a wonderful place to be. I am going to decline having anything to do with this. So let's take some nominations.
I would like to nominate myself.
Is there a second for that nomination?
Sure. I second that.
I would like to nominate Trustee Raymond.
Reluctantly do it.
Okay, I will second.
So we have two nominations, one for Trustee Whitaker and one for Trustee Raymond. Did we vote on that as one action, right? Okay, so can Indiana vote on this? She can vote on, no, Indiana can. Yes, so yes.
It's not personnel, so.
Student board member Chilton. Trustee Raymond,
Yes.
Trustee Howard,
Yes.
Trustee Whitaker. Vice President Adams,
Yes.
and I am a yes. So we have 5 votes from the board in support and 1 preferential vote in favor of the trustees Raymond and Whitaker. Yes.
I'll just say we'll just go to a board policy committee right after, and then we'll be good.
Yeah, actually.
Perfect.
Yeah. Woohoo, party. Our next action item is to approve the personnel report.
Can I just say something in regards to the Personnel Commission, just so that if anybody's watching, they know. So in January, we'll come back and the board would be considering approval of someone just to, as an interim, just one person, so that they can actually do their business while the two of you meet with the committee and select the permanent replacements.
Okay, so we have a personnel report to approve, item 11G.
It's just our regular routine personnel report. The only thing that we added was the admin designee, which will provide more admin to help out district-wide. And so the staff recommends to approve the personnel report.
And assuming we have no public comment on this. Okay, so is there a motion out there? Oh, yes. Trustee Whitaker, Vice President Adams, do you have something to say?
Yes, I move that we approve the personnel report.
I'll second.
Excellent. We have a first and a second. So, sorry, Yoda. Yes. Oh, discussion. Let's talk.
I just have one quick question. Just
For it.
every time this comes up, I need to just double check for myself. The people who are on the list, and I'm specifically referring at this point to, there was a long list of people going on leaves of absence. These are all people who they know they're going on leave of absence.
So the way that
I know this is going to be a surprise.
No, the way that works is that these are people that are, for example, Atosa was a classroom teacher. Now they're going to be a district-wide teacher on assignment. Or for example, Mark Milanovich, he's taking a leave from his teaching position to be a 0.8 in a CBTA union position. So
Okay.
these are all current employees that are moving into district-wide positions.
Okay, thank you for clarifying, because when I was reading it, I'm like, well, there are a lot of people on this list who are
Yeah.
very important jobs in our district right now. I just needed the clarification, so thank you for that.
Yeah, they're not leaving. They're just doing a different job, so we have to.
So, Trustee Raymond, what is
Good question.
do you have a vote?
Oh, I absolutely do, and I vote yes.
Trustee Howard,
Yes.
Trustee Whitaker,
Yes.
Vice President Adams,
Yes, President Kuziak.
and I vote yes, and that's 5-0. So let's now move on to board members' comments and reports. Board members will report on various district events, meetings, activities, and issues that do not require board action. So this is just information. Do you have anything additional above and beyond your previous report? Excellent. Trustee Raymond.
I'll be brief. I think everyone up here, we all attended CSBA's education conference, and I got a lot out of it. It was really a good experience, and I'm glad that we did that this year. And I also just want to applaud those of you and the rest of the team that made the presentation regarding supporting our LGBTQ students and community. That was clearly a much needed event at CSBA. There was nothing else like it happening during the conference. And it's such a necessary topic. You could tell from the people in the room that day just how thirsty many districts are for this kind of support. So hopefully we were able to share tools that others can use. And I was really proud of that. Other than that, I think the only thing I've had time for in the last few weeks was to attend the choir performance at the high school last weekend. It was wonderful, absolutely incredible. I gotta tell you, Larissa Sadaway is so fantastic. She connects with those students in a really impressive way. She has 191 kids in the choir program, and they are all spectacular. And she brings out just extraordinary things out of a bunch of teenagers. So it was really beautiful. And then this is not a school event, but in the world, it is the 8th night of Hanukkah tonight. And I'm not a religious person, so I don't observe this as a religious person, but I do just want to acknowledge this holiday and wish for light for everyone in the world tonight. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Howard.
Well, I also attended CSBA, and I guess I just got the bad news about the budget, which was all I heard there. That was a bit much. But also went to the Eden Area ROP. We had the meeting for December. The news there is we have at least 2 of the board members who are not coming back, so it's going to be a new deal over there. 2 of them are rotating out to be presidents of their own home boards, so they're off. So that'll be an interesting change. And finally, on Tuesday this week, we had at Rotary, we had the Madrigals perform, and it's always a great event and very popular, and we're pleased to see them. And as you said, they're just essentially professional. So it's fabulous. And I will be out of town December 17 to 27. I don't think anything as big is going to be happening, but I'll be available by phone and email.
And it was great to see Superintendent Torpy at CSBA. I saw him in the back of the presentation. Thank you, Trustee Howard. Trustee Whitaker.
Yes, so I went to the CSBA conference and was asked to speak on behalf of the board and represent us. I just have to say, Marion Meadows is such a gem. We are so lucky to have her implementing this work in our district. Her care, consideration, and thoughtfulness. I was very lucky to carpool with her and get to know her a little bit more. And then also Principal Patrick Hansen Schmidt, whose passion and dedication to this work is only bringing more equity to our district. And so I just can't say enough and thank them enough for everything that they do. So wherever you're out in the world, you're probably not listening. We really appreciate you. And then I will also be out of town the 21st to the 25th. I'll be up in Grass Valley, so I'm available by email and phone. And then I'll be in LA the 28th through the 30th, but available by phone and email.
Thank you so much. And Vice President Adams.
Yes, so it's been a little busy. I was at the Women's Club yesterday and saw the Madrigals also, again for a second time, because I had seen them in Rotary too. It was really wonderful to see them 2 days in a row. They did some different songs, and of course, they're just beautiful and lovely singers, and they brought a lot of holiday cheer. I was at the PAC meeting, the Parents Advisory Council meeting, virtually. Of course, the convention and the At the convention, the sort of like whipped cream on top was that LGBTQ presentation on the last day. And it was a packed house. I don't think there was a seat in the place. And then let's see, I went to the Castro Valley Education Foundation holiday and meeting. I was at someone's house. I went to Chris Lowe's memorial, our personnel commissioner who passed recently. I listened in at the Castro Valley MAC meetings, and I usually listen into these because, of course, the MAC is in the process. It's a long process of changing the long-term plan. And when they kind of get to that, I just want to make sure that bicycle paths and safety to school and those kinds of things are considered in the plan as opposed to just more parking or something like that. And then, and I went to the Rotary Children's Party. I got to volunteer for that. The sheriffs, Castro Valley USD, the fire department, and of course, it was put on by Rotary. Hopefully, I'm not forgetting any of the people who helped. It was really neat. It brought me back to my original days. I was like the waitress, picking up plates and handing out drinks and all of that, and just trying to bring some Christmas cheer to those who really need it.
I talk now, right? Yeah. So Vice President Adams, I appreciate your comments affirming the need for a livable Castro Valley. And I think we feel that very closely here at the Castro Valley Unified School District and making sure we have safe ways to get our kids to school. So looking forward to hearing more about that. I haven't really done much. I did go to CSBA and I was really impressed when we've all talked about the session we all went to together. What was lovely was just meeting all these other board members and meeting the board members from Paradise, right? And talking about how trauma informs how we support our kids. And it really is fantastic to think what a leader we are as a school district, influencing other school districts in the state of California. So I commend everyone here, everyone who works for the district in support of that. I am going out of town on Saturday. I will be in Florida until Wednesday, hopefully going to see the albino alligator with my grandmother. And then I will be out of town January 2nd through the 8th. When this ends, I will be heading over to the Fine Arts Center to go see a performance of the Creekside Band. So I'm looking forward to that. And so I need to close the meeting now, right? Or do I let you say, so do we want someone else? Yeah.
No, I just have one more thing I want to say about the,
Yeah.
we had two districts that did reach out to us, one in the Central Valley and one in Orange County.
Yes.
Asking us for our deck, but also I extended that I'm available if their board members want to talk.
It was that spirit of like, we're all community practice together and here to support each other really resonated with me. And I really saw the power of that. It was wonderful. Well, before we close, I want to just thank all of you in trusting me for this next coming year. And I'm going to turn over here and look at Superintendent Amadi and say something to her. I think there's a lot of things at times it gets frustrating as a board member. You want to like change the world. And there's a lot of things I wish I could do. There's many schools I wish I could rebuild, a lot of programs I wish we had. And I think as elected officials, sometimes we get asked to say things or do things or resolve things. I was very moved today by your message to the district about what's been happening in Israel and Palestine. And I think I shared with you how a number of board members from other districts talked about the email that you had originally sent out when the war started and how your message was so centered on the kids and how we are there for our kids. And whether it's seeing our staff present at CSBA or whether it's having space for all of our kids, regardless of their background and who they are, religious affiliation, that was really moving. So how we talk to the community, I just want to thank you for that message of hope you send out and the support that you provide our students.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And I just hope that, you know, we can find the light, you know, and I want to wish everyone a happy, whatever you celebrate. May it be happy, joyous, and wonderful. And we will see everyone back here in 2024. Thank you.